The medical wing on Colony Station 47 was always quiet, but today it was silent in a strange, heavy way. Lights hummed above the metal floor, glowing in a soft blue shade. Machines blinked, screens flashed warnings, and a group of alien doctors stood around a single bed. On that bed lay a small alien girl, no older than 12, her skin pale with faint silver marks that looked like sleeping stars. Her name was Lyra, and her core, the glowing energy chamber all her species were born with, had been sealed shut since the day she opened her eyes. Every alien child awakened their core in the first year of life. Every child except her. To her people, she was a mystery. Or a mistake. For 12 years, hundreds of doctors and energy masters had tried to open her core. They used ancient tools, powerful scanners, and rituals older than their own cities. Nothing worked. Her core remained cold and dark. Today, the council had arrived to give their final decision. "It is time," the elder announced. His voice carried sadness, shame, and a little fear. "We must accept she cannot be awakened. Her core is locked beyond our reach." The doctors lowered their heads. Even the machines seemed quieter, but standing near the back of the room, fixing the damaged wall panel, was a human man named Daniel Hayes. He was not a scientist, not a soldier, not a leader. He was only a maintenance worker who repaired broken equipment. He had come here because of a faulty scanner. Humans were rare on this colony, and most aliens barely noticed him. Daniel didn't know anything about alien cores, or ancient prophecies, or the politics of councils. He just wanted to fix his scanner and leave without bothering anyone. But something strange happened the moment he stepped closer to the girl's bed. Lyra's sealed core flickered, only for a second, but Daniel saw it. A small pulse of light, like a heartbeat waking up. He blinked, confused. No one else noticed. He took another step. The core flickered again, stronger this time. Daniel froze. His heart thumped in his chest. He looked around to see if any doctor saw it, but everyone was busy arguing with the council. He stepped back, testing his own eyes. The light vanished. He stepped forward again, slowly, carefully. The girl's core pulsed a third time. Across the room, one doctor gasped. "Did you see that?" Another nodded. The core, it moved. All eyes turned toward the bed, and then they saw Daniel standing there. For a moment, the room fell into complete silence. Alien faces stared at the human as if he had stepped on sacred ground. Daniel raised both hands nervously. I didn't touch anything," he said. The elder approached, studying him with eyes full of suspicion. "Human, what did you do?" "Nothing," Daniel replied. "I was just walking by." "That is impossible," a doctor whispered. "Her core has never responded to anyone, not in 12 years. Lyra's breathing was slow and weak, but as Daniel stood beside her, her chest lifted slightly. A thin glow spread under her skin, lighting up the silver marks. Daniel stared, amazed. Why is she reacting to him? One scientist demanded. "I do not know," another replied. "Our species has no record of humans affecting a sealed core." The elder stepped closer to Daniel. "Take another step back." Daniel did. Instantly, Lyra's glow faded. "Now forward." Daniel stepped forward again. Her core sparkled with a small crackle of light, brighter than before. The doctors whispered, in fear and disbelief, "It cannot be. He is triggering her core. Humans are not compatible. This breaks every law of energy science." Daniel felt his palms sweating. "Listen, maybe I should just—" "No," the elder interrupted. "Human, stay exactly where you are." Lyra's fingers switched, very softly, almost invisible, but Daniel saw it. Her eyelids moved, then slowly, slowly. The alien girl opened her eyes. For the first time in 12 years, she didn't look at the doctors, or the council, or the machines. She looked straight at Daniel. Her lips moved, and a tiny breath escaped her mouth, almost like a whisper. You are the key. Before Daniel could ask anything, every machine in the room exploded with alarms. The core inside her chest lit up like a miniature sun, and the floor under Daniel's feet vibrated. The council panicked, the doctors froze. Daniel's heart pounded as the glow reached its brightest point yet, and then, the core cracked. The impossible had begun. The room was filled with flashing red lights as the machines screamed warnings. Doctors rushed toward Lyra's bed, while council guards pulled Daniel back, unsure if he was dangerous or the only hope they had left. The glowing core inside the alien girl's chest shined brighter than it ever had in her entire life, and everyone in the medical wing watched in fear and amazement. Daniel stood frozen. He had no idea what was happening. He had only taken a simple step forward, but that step had changed everything. Lyra's eyes were fully open now, glowing with a soft silver light that matched the markings on her body. She wasn't speaking anymore, but she kept staring at Daniel, almost begging him not to move. Her core is destabilizing, a doctor shouted. No, the elder said softly. It is awakening. Awakening. The word felt heavy, like a storm gathering power. Daniel swallowed hard. Do you want me to stay, or move, or leave? Someone tell me something. One scientist, a tall alien with dark blue skin, approached him with trembling hands. Human. Please, come closer. Daniel hesitated. What if I hurt her? The scientist shook his head. You are the only one who has ever triggered her core. We cannot open it. We cannot wake her. Only you can. Daniel moved slowly toward the bed, every step making the glow inside Lyra's chest grow stronger. The doctors monitored every change, writing numbers and shouting instructions. As Daniel reached the side of the bed, he gently placed his hand on the railing. Lyra took a deep breath. A real breath. For 12 years, she had never taken one without assistance. Daniel leaned in. Hey, can you hear me? Her lips moved slightly. No sound came out, but he felt something. Like a warm pressure in his mind. Not a voice exactly, but a feeling. A call for help. The elder stepped closer, speaking carefully. Her species communicates partly through energy signals. If she is linking to you, do not break the connection. I don't even know how I'm connecting, Daniel said nervously. You do not need to know, the elder replied. Just be present. Machine slowly stopped screaming as her breathing became calm. The entire room watched in silence. One doctor whispered, her vitals are stabilizing. Impossible. Another whispered back, humans are low-energy species. How is this happening? Daniel ignored them. He looked at the girl, who still seemed weak but alive in a way she had never been before. Her hand moved a tiny, slow movement, and she lifted it toward him. Should I take her hand? Daniel asked. The elders and scientists shared worried looks. No one knew what would happen. Finally, the elder nodded. Do it. Daniel reached out and gently took Lyra's hand. The reaction was instant. Lyra's core burst into a bright light, filling the room with a warm wave that pushed the air itself. The machines overloaded, shutting down one by one. Doctors stumbled back. Guards lifted their shields. The energy wasn't violent. It felt like it was searching, stretching, learning. And then Lyra's voice finally came out, weak but clear. You are different. Daniel blinked. Different how? You carry a frequency, she whispered. Not like them. Not like anyone. The doctors leaned in. Ask her what frequency she means. Daniel ignored them and spoke gently. What do you want me to do? She closed her eyes, gathering strength. Help me open it. Open your core? Daniel asked. Yes, she whispered. Only you can. The elder sighed heavily. Human, understand this clearly. If you try to open her core and fail, you could kill her. If you succeed, you may unlock something we cannot predict. Daniel looked down at her small trembling hand. She was scared, but she trusted him. Somehow she trusted him more than her own people. What happens if we do nothing? Daniel asked. She will fade again, the elder said. The core will seal even tighter. She will return to her silent state. Maybe forever. Daniel's chest tightened. He couldn't let that happen, not after she had opened her eyes for the first time. He nodded slowly. Tell me what to do. Lyra's glowing eyes met his. Just stay close. As he leaned nearer, the core inside her chest opened a thin line like a crack in a glowing door. Gasps filled the room. The crack widened by itself. But then the floor suddenly shook, and alarms outside the medical wing erupted. Something or someone was coming, and they were coming for her. The shaking of the floor grew stronger, like something heavy was moving toward the medical wing. Lights flickered. The doctor stared at the doors with rising fear, but Daniel focused only on Lyra. Her glowing core was now cracked open, just enough for a thin beam of silver light to leak through. It wasn't dangerous, but it felt alive, like it was reaching out for something. Or someone. Stay close, she whispered again. Daniel nodded and moved beside her bed. The warm glow touched his hand, and he felt a strange sensation, like a vibration running through his bones. Not painful, just unfamiliar. One doctor scanned her chest nervously. Her core is beginning phase 1 awakening. This should be impossible without a fully trained energy master. The elder answered, and yet the human activates it without training. Daniel didn't like the attention. Look, I didn't do anything special. I just know, Lyra murmured weakly. You are the key. Before Daniel could respond, the floor shook violently. A guard stumbled. Someone shouted, "Security breach." Unknown force at the outer door. The elder turned pale. They found her. Who? Daniel asked Dot before anyone could answer. A loud boom hit the entrance. Dust fell from the ceiling. The guards raised their shields, trembling. Daniel's heart pounded. He looked at Lyra. Is someone trying to take you? She nodded slightly. They want the power inside me, the sealed power. Daniel stepped closer to her bed. Then I'm not leaving. Her fingers tightened around his. The glow from her core responded instantly, brightening the room. A doctor panicked. The core's output is spiking. It's reacting directly to the human's emotions. Daniel pulled his hand back in fear, but her grip held tight. The glow dimmed a little, like her core didn't want him to leave. He took a deep breath and touched her hand again. The core exploded in brightness. Machines crackled dot symbols, glowing, ancient. Symbols began appearing in the air above her chest, floating like slow-burning fire. The alien stared with wide eyes. That language. One scientist gasped. It hasn't been seen for thousands of cycles. Another whispered, it's from the old archives. The ones we cannot translate. The symbols slowly rotated toward Daniel, as if showing themselves to him. Daniel stared, confused. I can't read this, he said. I don't know your language. It is not a language, Lyra said softly. It is a message from the core, for you. A loud crash came from the hallway. The doors bent inward from another hit. Guards shouted and rushed forward. Daniel backed away, but Lyra held his hand tightly, refusing to let go. Daniel! Help me connect, she whispered. What does that mean? He asked. Touch the core chamber, with your palm. He froze. Won't that kill me? No, she whispered with surprising confidence. It will show you the truth. The elder looked terrified. Human, wait, this is unstable. You could burn your nerves. You could lose consciousness or worse. Daniel looked at Lyra. She was trembling, scared, desperate. She had lived 12 years in silence. Now when she finally awakened, danger was coming for her again. He couldn't walk away. He nodded slowly. Okay, I'll do it. He placed his palm gently on the side of her glowing core chamber. Instantly, the world around him changed. Medical room faded into darkness. All sound vanished. He stood in a silent space filled with light, soft silver, warm. The floating symbols grew larger around him, forming a circle, and standing in the center was Lyra. But not weak like before. Here, she looked whole, glowing, strong, almost ethereal. You are inside my core, her voice echoed. Daniel spun around. He could see her clearly, moving without pain. What is this place? It is a memory space, she answered. Only those chosen may enter. You are the first. Daniel shook his head. I don't understand. Why me? Why can I open your core when your own people can't? Lyra stepped closer. Because humans carry a frequency our ancestors once knew. A frequency that can unlock a sealed born like me. Outside in the real world, the door shook violently again. Inside the core, Daniel felt the pressure building. What happens now? He asked. Lyra looked at him with glowing eyes. Now you must fully connect, or the door outside will break. And they will take me. A final boom echoed from outside the real room. Inside her core, the symbols spun faster. Daniel took a deep breath. Tell me what to do. Lyra reached out her glowing hand. Choose to connect, or watch me fall. And the core began pulling him in deeper. Daniel felt the pull of the core tightening around him, like invisible threads dragging him deeper into Lyra's memory space. The silver symbols spun faster, circling like a storm. In the real world, the pounding on the medical wing door grew louder, but inside the core, all Daniel heard was Lyra's calm, echoing voice. You must understand who I am, she said softly. Her glowing form walked toward him, leaving bright footprints on the floor of light. Daniel followed, still confused but determined. Why are people trying to take you? Why is your core locked? What does any of this have to do with humans? Lyra stopped in front of a floating shard of light. She touched it with her fingertip, and it expanded into a wide image, an ancient scene from thousands of years ago. Daniel saw tall alien figures gathered around a glowing cradle. Inside that cradle was a child, with the same sealed core Lyra had. This is our beginning, Lyra said. Our ancestors discovered that a new type of child would be born, a sealed born. Daniel frowned. Sealed on purpose? Yes, she whispered. Not broken, not damaged, sealed. The image shifted. Daniel watched as the ancient aliens attempted to open the child's core with tools, energy beams, and rituals. None worked. They believed only a certain type of being could unlock us. Lyra continued, eyes glowing brighter. Someone who carried a rare natural frequency. Someone from beyond our star lineage. Daniel's breath slowed. Someone like me? Yes, she said. The memory scene changed again. Now Daniel saw a different species, tall, solid, with familiar features, humans. Not modern ones, but ancient, spacefaring humans long before present civilization. They stood beside the sealed-born child, guiding energy through their hands. The core responded instantly, glowing open like a flower of light. Daniel's eyes widened. Humans helped your people in the past? Lyra nodded. Your species had contact with us thousands of cycles ago, but the knowledge was lost. Your civilizations fell. Ours forgot the truth. Only the prophecy remained. Daniel stared. A prophecy? She repeated the words slowly, as if carved into her memory. A sealed-born child will open only to a mind from beyond the stars. A stranger with a forgotten frequency. And that frequency, Lyra added, exists only in humans. Daniel took a step back. But why did no one know this? Why did your people try for 12 years without calling humans? Because humans were believed to be weak, she said, voice trembling. Primitive, not powerful enough, Not worthy. Daniel almost laughed, but it wasn't funny. Yeah, we get that a lot. Suddenly, the memory space trembled violently. The real-world door must have taken another hit. Lyra winced, gripping her arm. Cracks of dark energy spread across the memory space ground. They're getting closer, she said urgently. I can feel them. They hunger for my core. Who are they? Daniel asked. She closed her glowing eyes. A faction of my people. Those who believe sealed-born should be used as weapons. If they take me, they will force the core open with violence. And I will die. Daniel clenched his fists. Not happening. Lyra opened her eyes and looked at him with something new hope. Then you must finish what you started. The symbols around them rose higher and spun like silver flames. A deep hum filled the space. Lyra stepped closer to Daniel and extended her glowing hand again. You must accept the link, she said. Only by linking with me can you open the second layer of my core. Daniel hesitated. What does that mean? What happens if we link? Lyra swallowed. A link is a bond. Your energy joins mine. I will take a part of you. And you will carry a part of me. That sounds dangerous. It is, she whispered, for both of us. The ground shook again, harder. A booming echo from the real world shook the memory space. Their time was running out. Lyra grabbed his hand, her voice breaking. Daniel, if we do not complete the link, they will take me. And your connection will fade. I will fall back into silence forever. Daniel's heart pounded. He looked into her glowing silver eyes. Fear, pain, hope, everything was there. He took a deep breath. I'm with you. Lyra's expression softened, almost like relief. The symbols collapsed into a beam of pure light that shot down between them, forming a circle. She whispered one last sentence. Then prepare yourself. The second layer is alive. The light exploded, and the link began. The moment the link began, Daniel felt a rush of heat flood through his body. It wasn't painful, but powerful, like standing too close to a rising sun. The silver light between him and Lyra wrapped around them like a glowing ribbon, binding their energy together. The memory space shook harder now, trembling with every distant explosion coming from the real world, outside. The medical wing doors finally gave in. A deep boom echoed through both realities. Lyra's eyes widened. They're inside. The memory space cracked open like glass breaking underwater, and Daniel was violently pulled backward. Light swallowed everything, and in a blink, he was thrown out of the core and back into the real world. He stumbled, nearly falling, but something soft held him steady. Lyra's hand. Her eyes were open, fully awake now. The glow from her core spread across her entire chest, lighting up the room like a silver storm. Doctors gasped and backed up. Guards raised their shields. Daniel could barely breathe. Half of him was still in the energy space. Half of him was here. He felt every beat of her core, and she felt every beat of his heart. The elder whispered, "The link. It has begun." Before Daniel could speak, the door to the medical wing shattered. Pieces flew across the floor as a group of armored aliens stormed inside. Their armor was black, marked with red glowing symbols. They carried weapons Daniel had never seen, long, hooked energy blades humming with deadly light. One stepped forward, voice deep and cold. "The sealed-born must come with us." Lyra tightened her grip on Daniel. The elder blocked their path. "You cannot take her. She is under council protection." The armored alien lifted his weapon. "The council no longer rules." Before the elder could react, the alien knocked him aside with one brutal strike. Several guards attacked, but the intruders moved with terrifying speed. In seconds, the defenders were on the floor, groaning in pain. Daniel stepped back, pulling Lyra closer as fear rushed through his chest. "We need to get out of here." Lyra shook her head. "No, the core is not fully open yet. If we run, they will catch us. If they take me now, they will break the link and kill both of us. Daniel froze. Kill both of us? Her voice trembled. Yes. The armored aliens spread out, surrounding the bed. She is awakening, one of them sighed. The core is opening. We must take her before the second layer forms fully. Daniel stood between them and Lyra without thinking. Over my dead body, the alien leader laughed. That can be arranged, human. He raised his weapon. Before he could strike, the air shifted. A blast of silver energy erupted from Lyra, forming a protective dome around her and Daniel. The shockwave was so strong it threw every armored alien across the room. Screens shattered. Tables flew. The ceiling lights flickered violently. Doctors screamed. Guards shielded their faces. Even Daniel had to squint as the glowing dome surged. Higher. What is this? He whispered. Lyra's voice was soft but steady. The core is protecting its key. Daniel touched the dome worm, alive, humming with power. This is because of the link? Yes, she whispered. Your presence completes the circuit, and the core defends us. Outside the dome, the armored aliens rose to their feet, shaken, but not defeated. Their leader slammed his blade against the shield. It sparked, but did not break. He snarled. So the human is the key, then we kill the key. He stabbed again. Harder. The shield trembled but held. Daniel swallowed. How long can this hold? Lyra looked weak again, her breath shallow. Not long. The energy is still opening the second layer. I cannot control it. Daniel knelt beside her. Tell me what to do, anything. She looked into his eyes. Hold my hand. Keep the link steady. He grabbed her hand instantly. Okay, I'm here. The dome glowed brighter, responding. But the aliens outside began forming a new attack pattern, raising their weapons, charging them with red fire. One scientist cried out, "They're going to overload the shield. They'll break through." Daniel clenched his teeth. Lyra, whatever the second layer is, open it, now. She closed her eyes with determination. The core inside her chest pulsed hard once, twice, 3 times. And then it burst. A massive wave of energy exploded outward, but only after absorbing Daniel and Lyra into itself. The two vanished from sight, leaving the intruders staring at an empty bed. As the entire colony shook from the awakening of a power no alien had seen in thousands of years. Asterisk. Daniel's vision snapped into blinding white. His body felt weightless, as if he had been thrown into a warm ocean made of light. There was no sound, no gravity, no breath, only a deep humming that felt like it came from inside his bones. He tried to speak, but no words came out. He wasn't sure he even had a body here. Slowly the white glow faded, and he found himself standing inside an enormous space that stretched endlessly, glowing with silver clouds and floating fragments of memories. Strange shapes drifted by, faces, ancient symbols, cities of alien design, all flickering like broken holograms. He steadied himself. Where am I? A voice answered him from behind, soft and echoing. You are inside my second layer. Daniel turned. Lyra stood there, not weak, not trembling, not half-conscious like before. Here, she looked strong and whole, her silver markings glowing like tiny stars. You look different, Daniel said, stepping closer. This is how I feel. Inside, she replied. The body you saw outside is only half of me. The sealed born carry an inner world. And now you're inside it. Daniel looked around in awe. It's like a universe in here. It is, she said simply. A universe locked inside a child. Daniel exhaled slowly. Why did we come here? Because the second layer cannot open in the physical world, Lyra explained. It can only open where the core's truth lives. One of the floating memory shards drifted toward them and unfolded into a giant scene. Daniel saw hundreds of sealed-born children in ancient times, powerful, glowing, feared. He saw their energy crack mountains, bend storms, stop armies. These children, Daniel said softly, they look dangerous. They were not dangerous, Lyra corrected. They were misunderstood. Our people feared their power and tried to control them. But the sealed-born could only open for one species. Daniel swallowed. Humans, Lyra nodded. And when humans disappeared from our part of the galaxy, the sealed-born disappeared. 2. Without the key, the core sealed itself generation after generation. So you were waiting, Daniel whispered. Waiting for a human to appear again. Yes, she said. Waiting for you, Daniel blinked. Me? You mean any human, right? Not specifically me, Lyra hesitated. I do not know, but your frequency matched perfectly. When you touched my core, it did not resist. It welcomed you. Daniel felt something shift inside him, like a soft heartbeat, not his own. This link, is it permanent? In the second layer, Lyra said gently, links cannot be undone. Not unless the core closes again. But if it closes, I will not survive. Daniel's chest tightened. So you're saying, if we fail here, you die? Lyra met his eyes. If we fail here, we both die. Before Daniel could respond, the ground beneath them shook violently. The sky cracked open like shattered glass, revealing a dark red storm on the outside horizon. Lyra gasped. They're attacking the core from the outside. They're forcing it open by violence. Can that kill us? Daniel asked. Yes, she said, her voice trembling. If they break the outer shell, the second layer will collapse. Daniel clenched his fist. Tell me what I need to do. Lyra pointed toward a distant platform floating in the silver void. A glowing sphere rested there, pulsing slowly like a giant heart. That is the heart memory, she said. The final lock. If we reach it together, the core will fully awaken. Daniel nodded. Then let's go. They began walking, but the floating platform shook, rearranging themselves like a maze of living energy. The red storm outside grew louder. The armored intruders were attacking the physical core chamber with full force. Lyra stumbled slightly. Daniel caught her hand. You okay? She nodded weakly. The outside attacks weaken me. If they break through, this world collapses. Daniel placed his hand over hers. Then we moved faster. The path suddenly shattered, and they had to jump across floating shards of memory. Each shard showed visions. Ancient humans helping sealed-born children. Symbols shining on stone walls. Alien wars that ended civilizations. Daniel paused at one memory, ancient. Human hands guiding energy into an alien core. They were helping. You, Daniel whispered. They respected us. Lyra replied softly. They did not fear us. They reached the final platform. The heart memory pulsed brightly, calling to them like a living star. Daniel stepped toward it, but Lyra grabbed his arm. Her eyes were full of fear. Daniel, once we touch the heart memory together, the link becomes permanent. Your energy will be tied to mine forever. You will feel my pain, my fear, my joy. Daniel looked into her glowing silver eyes. I already made my choice. Together they placed their hands on the heart memory. The core roared to life, and the waking began. The instant Daniel and Lyra touched the heart memory, the entire core world exploded into a burst of silver and white energy. The shockwave threw them upward, spinning them through endless light. Daniel couldn't even hear his own thoughts. Only a deep humming, like 1,000 distant stars vibrating at once. When his vision cleared, he found himself standing on a new platform, high above the core's inner universe. Silver storms swirled below, and ancient symbols floated like constellations above. Lyra floated beside him, surrounded by glowing threads of energy. Her eyes shined brighter than ever before. It's awakening, she whispered. The true Core. The whole core. Daniel looked around. What now? She turned to him. Now the core chooses. It decides if the link between us is strong enough to open the final layer. And if it isn't, Daniel asked. She hesitated. Then the core will erase the incomplete bond. And everything tied to it. Daniel understood instantly. Erase the bond. Erase Lyra. Erase him. He stepped closer. We're not failing. Not after coming this far. Lyra looked at him with soft confidence. She reached out, and he took her hand. The platform beneath them responded instantly, rising upward toward a massive structure floating in the sky. A glowing sphere the size of a planet, pulsing like a living star. That's it, Lyra whispered. The core's final chamber. As they moved closer, the sphere cracked open like a giant eye awakening from sleep. A beam of silver descended. Toward them, enveloping both bodies, a voice echoed from everywhere and nowhere. Ancient, powerful, filled with emotion. The key has returned. Daniel's chest tightened. The key? Lyra nodded. It means you. The voice boomed again. The sealed born shall rise. The lost frequency is found. And then the beam pulled them inside. Daniel landed on a surface that felt solid, yet glowing like warm glass. The chamber around them was vast, circular, and endless. Silver rivers of energy flowed through the walls like veins. At the center was a crystal pedestal with a small glowing seed resting on top. Lyra approached it slowly. This is my true core, my life seed. It grows only when awakened by a link holder. Daniel walked beside her. Is that me? She smiled softly. Yes, you are now my link holder. The seed pulsed as they reached it. It responded to Daniel's presence like a heartbeat syncing with his. Lyra placed her hand on the seed. It needs your touch too, she whispered. Only then will the core be fully open. Daniel raised his hand, but the chamber suddenly shook violently. Outside the core, the armored intruders were firing every weapon they had. The outer layers trembled, threatening to collapse. Red cracks spread across the chamber walls. Lyra cried out, falling to her knees. They're breaking through. Daniel rushed to her. We have to finish this now. She grabbed his wrist with shaking fingers. Daniel, listen. Once you touch the seed, the connection becomes permanent. Our lives will no longer be separate. If I get hurt, you will feel it. If I grow, you will grow. If I die. Daniel stopped her by placing his hand gently on her cheek. I already chose you. Her eyes widened in soft surprise. Without waiting, Daniel placed his palm on the seed. The core responded instantly, the chamber filled with a roaring blast of light, shooting upward like a pillar through the entire core world. Symbols burned like stars. Rivers of silver energy exploded outward like a cosmic wave. Lyra screamed, not in pain, but release, as every sealed layer inside her unlocked at once. Daniel felt it too, a warmth spreading through his whole body, connecting him to something vast and ancient. The final seal broke, and the core awakened. Back in the real world, the medical wing shook violently. The armored intruders staggered back as the sealed core chamber erupted in brilliant light. The shield dome reappeared, but now it was 10 times stronger, glowing like a miniature sun. Doctors and council members watched in awe as 2 figures slowly descended from the light. Daniel and Lyra, standing on her own, fully awakened. Her markings burning like constellations. The elder fell to his knees. The prophecy. It was true. The intruders dropped their weapons, terrified. Lyra spoke, her voice calm but powerful. Touch him again, and my core will consume every weapon you own. They backed away instantly. Daniel stood beside her, still glowing faintly from the link. He looked around, confused but steady. What happens now? He asked. Lyra turned to him with a soft smile. Now Daniel, your life is tied to mine, and together we stand stronger than any force in this galaxy. The council bowed. The hostile faction fled. And Lyra's core shined one last time, projecting a final symbol into the air. First lock opened. Daniel stared at it. First lock? How many are there? Lyra looked at him with a mixture of excitement and fear. 7. The story was only beginning.